Welcome back to your Pick Trail Show. Will Monclair alongside everyone's favorite Kevin McPherson for your Hog Hoops Report. Kevin, wow. Where do we even start with this one? The Hogs headed to the Sweet 16, able to beat Kansas. I know. Do I say what's a better win, the Liberty Bowl or the round of 32? Where do we go from here, Kev?
Well, with all due respect to football and the Liberty Bowl, this is big time, and we know Kansas is a blue blood in basketball. So it's a little sweeter there. And look, Arkansas now back-to-back seasons knocking off a number one seed in their own region. That's only happened 3 other times previously in the history of college basketball. Duke, UCLA, and Butler pulled that off. Arkansas's done it now. You know, last season when Arkansas knocked off number one overall seed Gonzaga, who was also the number one ranked team in the AP poll, after doing that, Arkansas was the only school to have done that and defeated a ranked number one team in the regular season in the same season. So Arkansas keeps moving the bar, setting a new bar. So it's one thing these are the kind of things though that happen, Will, when your program's having consistent success, and we're talking about not just national relevance now. Arkansas's got back-to-back Sweet 16s. That's only happened one other time in program history. Naismith Hall of Fame coach Nolan Richardson had 4 consecutive. When you go back and look at what Arkansas did, sandwiching around that national championship team, there were 2 Sweet 16s that were bookends to back-to-back, runs to the national title game. Arkansas won a title, finished runner-up, and they had 4 consecutive there when we talk about Sweet 16s. If Arkansas is able to advance, win this next game in Las Vegas, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. If the Razorbacks are able to do that, it'll be the first time in program history that Arkansas has gone that deep in the tournament 3 years in a row. So that would be a first. So this is becoming a program that's establishing some firsts, or hearkening back to the greatest era, the salad days of the GOAT, the Hall of Famer Nolan Richardson. So this is what Eric Musselman is put in front of the fans. The last 2 seasons, you could follow this and almost feel it. You didn't know it was going to happen until it did. But those teams were really good starting in where they got over their issues in mid-January, and then they would just burn through February and March, right? Just they were almost untouchable. You didn't see it coming with this team. The talent was there. We kept talking about it all year. If they don't have any injuries, Arkansas resembles what Bama is, a 1 seed with 4 or 5 losses, maybe. Arkansas is that kind of team. With one of those guys back, and they got Nick back, he's still playing through midseason stuff, man. It's obvious, and he's been dealing still with some physical issues. But even with him back now, I think this is, when we've always said it, this is a team on paper that can still make a run in the tournament. The problem was the talent on paper was not translating to finishing out and closing out games. And that was where the up and down was, and a lot of downs toward the end of the year. 6 losses in their last 9 games coming to this NCAA tournament. But Arkansas was battle-tested. Yesterday was their 19th game away from home, and many of those road games were against really high-quality opponents. And it helped them. It's helped them. They've learned. It's been a much more gradual process in the previous 2 years. But I think the other thing here, Will, is when we look at beating a Kansas, it's not just the name. If you watch this game, this was a battle. Kansas never laid down in this. It wasn't like Arkansas, got some kind of advantage that normally wouldn't happen. And, there's an excuse. There's no excuse other than Arkansas was the tougher team, the team with the greatest will and desire to win. And I think when Arkansas went back to its identity, if you look at the first 28 minutes in this game, Will, Arkansas took 13 threes. They'd only made 2, and they were down 12. With 12 minutes and 14 seconds to go, they were down 12 and had shot 13 threes and only made 2. The last 12-plus minutes, 2 3-point attempts. One of those they made, Jordan Walsh, to cap an 11-0 run that put Arkansas back in the lead at 52-51 with just under 9 minutes left. After the last lead they had was 2-0. So here's the thing. You played to your strengths. Look at Devo Davis. Look at Ricky Council. Look at Kamani Johnson. All these guys battled on the offensive glass. They drove hard into the paint. You hear that phraseology, going hard in the paint. That's what those guys did. Devo Davis is an Arkansas Razorback legend. He owns the NCAA tournament. He's a top 5 player all time in this program. When you look at postseason, I don't, I'll go to that. I'll
Wow.
go to the floor with that argument any day of the week. But Ricky Council has come alive. I wrote about this. He needed to get away from these SEC teams that really do a good job of understanding who when you're in your league, everybody knows you. They play you multiple times, and I thought he needed to reset. And boy, has he reset. He has been a monster getting downhill. And if he's not finishing, he's getting to the free throw line. And he's 21 of 23 in this NCAA tournament, over 90% of the line. Arkansas went from a poor free throw shooting team, 69%, to being in the high 70s as a team now, almost 80% in the tournament, almost 10 percentage points higher, which is huge. I mean, that would not be something that they would have been telegraphed by anything they've done all year. And Arkansas has also won the rebounding battle significantly in their 2 NCAA tournament games, as well as the turnover battle. These were all areas that were problems, self-inflicted wounds, and reasons why, when you look at it and you go, how is Arkansas 8-10 and finished 10th in the SEC? They've got a high net rating, and they got 3 guys on all league teams. How do you have 3 players on all league teams when you don't even finish in the top half of the league and you're underwater in league play?
Mm-hmm.
It's because the individual pieces were there, was cleaning up a lot of this stuff. And Arkansas now has its best 2-game track record of the season, and it's perfect timing. Eric Musselman and the Razorbacks 8-2 in the last 3 NCAA tournaments. Like I said, they've got a chance to make more history in Vegas. They're out in the desert. Man, how much fun is that going to be, Will?
Oh my God.
Does that sound like fun, having your NCAA tournament proceed out in Sin City?
It's going to be an absolute blast, Kev. I think the question on every Razorback fan's mind right now is what happens from here? What do you believe happens from here?
Well, I believe anything. I believe, I've been saying this for a while. I don't think there are any great teams in this NCAA tournament. I do not. And we've seen a lot of upsets. 2 1 seeds are already gone in the first weekend, and we've seen a 2 seed get bounced, a 4 seed. We've seen upsets. And at this point, Arkansas has played everybody. They played Bama twice, and we're at the end of those games, we could have won either one of them. On the road against Baylor, had a nice lead, and that fell apart, but they lost by 3. Mm-hmm. This is one of the higher seeds in this tournament. We'll see what Baylor does today. But the point is, Arkansas's played so many really good teams that there's no, just like with Kansas, Arkansas didn't back down physically, athletically, and talent-wise. They match up with everybody. So where can it go? Well, if you just knocked off a 1 seed, you've proven that, come on. You've proven that you're ready for all comers. And I think Arkansas's got as good a chance. I really do, because I don't think there are great teams here. What I do know is the West region, I believed it was the toughest coming in. And that's the bracket you really haven't seen upsets. Mm-hmm. Arkansas is going to hold true to form. Arkansas is going to play a 4 or 5 seed, just like the seeding would suggest it should. And those teams are going to match up today. The 4 seed UConn out of the Big East. And of course, you've got St. Mary's, which has been a really good West Coast mid-major. But those teams are going to match up. Arkansas, in its previous 2 runs to the Elite 8, in 2 of their 3 wins before losing, and 2 of the 3 wins each year, they faced teams that were double-digit seeds. So there were some upsets. But those were worthy teams when we start talking about Oral Roberts and New Mexico State. And Arkansas had to grind to win those. But this is a different setting. Arkansas's had to beat. It was the higher seed for one game, but it was a 9 seed, not even a double digit. Then the 1, then they're going to get a 4 or 5. So this will be the year that they don't play any double digit seeds in their first 3 NCAA tournament games, as form is held true in this West region. And so if Arkansas can emerge, and 2 seed UCLA still in it, but if Arkansas can emerge from this, they've come out of the strongest region, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, Kev. I can only imagine what we're going to be talking about next week. All this excitement aside, we still got recruiting that we got to talk about. I can only imagine what this has done for recruiting. What are you hearing?
Well, Arkansas's in the portal. The Arkansas's coaching staff has proven every year it can chew gum and walk at the same time. When they're going through their runs in the NCAA tournament, you got all kinds of teams whose seasons have ended or continue to end as NIT games play out, NCAA tournament games play out. And they keep contacting guys. They're well over 40 or close to it that we know of that have been reported or that I've been able to confirm. But there's some names. We know that Arkansas is going to cast a wide net, and then they're really going to be drilled down and focused on a few they really want. And I've got 2 or 3 names on guys that I think things are progressing with. I'm real close to putting something out on that. I'm not quite ready to drop a name. I don't want this to be a disappointing segment though. So I'm going to tell you that I have been able to put eyes this weekend on some high school recruits. I'm going to give you an update on that.
Mhm.
Both of them are top 20 rated guys. When you start talking about Terrion Burgess out of Benton, class of 2025, national top 20. K. Honor Boateng at a Little Rock Central, class of 2024. Arkansas has been recruiting these guys, got to watch them as now they prepare the high school season's over, prepare for grassroots play spring and summer. So they're practicing all weekend, getting ready for Real Deal in the Rock. It's a huge event. Every year, some of the best talent around the country comes down to Little Rock. That's next weekend. But the Arkansas Hawks, I've been out to one of their drill sessions Friday night. I'm going out to practice tonight. But after looking at Burgess and Boateng, a couple of things I can say here. Both of those guys are progressing with their skill. They're athletically gifted, length, size. There's a reason why they're both rated in the top 20. And I'm just going to drop a little nugget here for everybody. I think Arkansas is in great shape with Terrion Burgess. I think with Boateng, they're in a good spot. But I think even with Burgess, I know this team is pursuing him. They're on his radar. They're recruiting him maybe as much as anybody. And I think Arkansas is in great shape with Terrion Burgess moving forward. I think they're in really good shape with Boateng too. But I think with Burgess, it may be a little bit more pronounced right now. So I want to get that out there. I want to talk more about the portal. I just can't right now, but there's 2 or 3 names right now that have emerged as guys that Arkansas is progressing with as they go through that process. You're going to see a lot of names published as far as initial contact, but there's really only going to be a few that Arkansas drills down on and goes after.
Yeah, that's all exciting stuff, Kev. Can't wait to learn more. Kev, as always, really appreciate you coming on. And don't forget to stick with us more Pig Trail Show after this.